Hello YouTube, and welcome to Rob's Arcade. As usual, I'm your host Rob, and the topic of this episode is a very special request for Scarlet V, who is one of my awesome Player 2s.
Powerpuff Girls is an animated series that premiered on Cartoon Network in 1998. The show centers on three kindergarten-age girls with superpowers who live in the fictional city of Townsville with their father and creator, Professor Utonium. These pint-sized heroes are frequently called upon by the city's mayor to protect the city from evildoers such as Mojo Jojo and the Gangrene Gang. Blossom, who is always clad in pink, is a self-proclaimed leader of the trio. Bubbles is the cute one who's always wearing blue, and last but not least is Buttercup, who wears green and is the toughest of the trio. The show ran until 2005 and was extremely popular. In addition to the 78 episodes airing on Cartoon Network, Powerpuff Girls had a Christmas special, a feature film, an anime, and various other spin-off media. The show returned in 2016 with brand new episodes and even had a crossover with the Teen Titans. Their next step will be into live action on the upcoming CW series entitled Powerpuff. While we all anxiously wait for more information about this reboot, let's check out what we're going to be drawing this episode.
That's right, Player 2s. On this episode, we're going to be drawing all three Powerpuff Girls. After that, we're going to cruise on down to the Classic Games Showcase, and we're going to spend some time playing one of the many video games based on the Powerpuff Girls. Dude, seriously, don't even try it. Look, Player 2s, I know he's going to pop up here and try to turn me into a dog or something, but I'm going to tell you, I am not having it whatsoever. If that funky monkey shows his face in here again, that dude is in some serious trouble.
Ha! I rule!
That's it.
Curses!
Maybe we should just check our supplies and start our class. Okay, Player 2s, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for us to draw the Powerpuff Girls. We're going to start by drawing Blossom, and we're going to use the same process we always use. When I draw in red, I want you to press very lightly with your pencils. This is the guideline step. Eventually we're going to go in and we're going to erase all these lines. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to draw an oval. Make sure you leave a little bit of room at the top and a lot of room at the bottom for the rest of our picture. Next up, since her head is turned in a 3/4 view, like we've done this before, we're going to draw a guideline right about there to help keep both sides even. The next step we're going to do is we're going to draw a rectangle for her body. Next up, we're going to do the arms, which is a curve. A curve like that, kind of like a teardrop shape. The Powerpuff Girls are very stylized, so it's pretty much like we're just combining a bunch of shapes together, the same way that we always do, but in this case, the shapes are a little different than just the standard circles, squares, and triangles. Other arms, same thing, kind of the teardrop shape. We're going to do a circle here, and a long teardrop shape right there for her leg. I'm just going to do 2 lines right here for part of her uniform. Since Blossom is flying, her bow is going to be bent a little bit to simulate the fact that she's moving. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the knot in the middle, and then we're going to draw a curve to here with a line to there, and then another bump right here for the other part of her bow. Pretty simple so far, right, player twos? Now, if I'm going too fast, pause the video. Take a second, look at it. I know that I go real fast, but I'm trying to cover a lot of information here. So we have, as of right now, head, arms, body, leg, bow. We're going to stay on step 1 and continue to do guidelines. So we're going to draw a shape, 2 lines there, right across where we have our guideline down the middle here. So this will be for her hair. Then we're going to do her eyes. Kind of like a backward check mark, followed by a frontward check mark right here, and then a big circle. Same thing right there. She's smiling, so her mouth is going to look like a little letter U. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my own tongue here. I'm going to draw a little line right there for just detail. Inside the eyes, we are going to have 1 curve, 2 curves, and 3 curves. In the other eye, we're going to have 1 curve and 2 curves. Now, when the head is turned in the 3/4 view, this part right here, if we color this in, this will be the whites of her eyes. When her head is turned like this, she doesn't have the whites in her eyes, so it just looks very, very similar to this. Now, I'm just going to shade this in just a little bit, just to show you that this is how the image would look. A couple more steps, and then we're done with step 1. So now we just have to draw her hair, which is a letter J. And then we're just going to curve it down here and maybe just throw a detail line in there. The booties, we're going to do a little curve here, a little curve here, and then a letter U. And there you go. Step 1 of drawing Blossom is complete. Now we're going to go to step 2. Step 2 is us pretty much tracing over all of the lines that we did here, aside from this little guideline in the middle. Now along the way, if there's anything that we don't like, any mistakes that we made, this is where we can kind of adjust it a little bit before we get to the final step. When I draw in blue, I want you to press slightly harder with your pencils. Just hard enough so you can tell the difference between the lines in step 1 to step 2. Let's do this, player twos. Starting with the hair. Going around here, and then I'm following it around to the rest of her head. Going over the little check marks and stuff for her eyes. Then the eyeball. 1 curve, 2 curve, 3 curve. The mouth. 1 curve, 2 curve, 3 curve. A little detail line. There we have Blossom's head. We're going to do the bow. Over the guidelines. Arms. Feet. Body. Leg. Over that little letter U. That little letter U. And our hair. Line. And then right there. So as of right now, step 2 is complete. We're going to move on to step 3, which is just pretty much just inking over all of these lines that we just did. When the ink dries, we're going to go through, we're going to erase all the pencil lines. Now before we start inking, take a look at your drawing. Make sure that you didn't miss any steps. Because once we start inking over this, if you make a little mistake, you can't fix it when it's inked. But as of right now, since we just have pencil here, you can erase your lines, you can adjust things. That's why we do things in this step-by-step process. So we're going to start going over everything here. So over the bow, over the head, arm, body, foot. I'm just going to shade that in briefly. Other foot, I'm going to shade that in briefly. Hair, other arm, eyes. Again, I know I'm going a little fast, player twos, but if I'm going too fast, pause the video, rewind the video, do whatever you need to do to keep up. Everybody moves at a different speed, so. And if you're not drawing as fast as I am, and if your image doesn't look exactly like mine, it's okay. This is a learning process, as I always say. We're not going to be perfect the first time we do this, but practice, practice, practice. And what's very good about doing something like this is that since we did this in 3 steps, it's repetition. It's doing things over and over and over. That's how you learn. So we did step 1, drew an image. We did step 2, drew the same image, fixed it a little bit. We did step 3, drew the same image, fixed it a little bit more. So now when we go on to draw the other 2 Powerpuff Girls, we're going to pretty much be drawing the same image with just a few variations, just to make some changes to make all the characters their own specific characters. So as of right now, we've just finished drawing Blossom. Bow, eyes, mouth, body, feet, hair, etc., etc. Now, we're to go on to the fun and the laughter of the Powerpuff Girls, and we're going to draw Bubbles. Okay, since we're going to be drawing the same pose that we did for Blossom, I've taken the liberty of already drawing the body. All we have to do is just make a few changes to the head, and then we have a different character altogether. So we did our oval. Then, just like before, we're going to do our guideline. Now, Bubbles' hair is very different than Blossom's hair. So we're going to start up here, and we're going to draw a letter W. Goes around here, goes around here. Then we're going to do a curve right through there that goes on top of that. And then we're going to draw kind of like a leaf shape. So we're going to do a curve that goes to here, bring it around, and go around to there. Then we're going to do the other pigtail, and then her eyes. One big circle, another big circle. Since she's smiling, we're going to do a letter U. And then the eyes, the same way that we did Blossoms. 1 curve, 2 curve, 3 curves, 1 curve, 2 curves. So right there, we have the head. We're going to skip step 2 and go right to inking this over. So all we're going to pretty much be doing is just tracing over all of the lines that we just drew, except for that middle guideline that we drew. So I'm going to start on our little happy mouth, then go up here to her hair. And this overlaps too, so we're not going to trace over that. I'm going to go over the head shape, over our little letter W that we did here for her hair, over there, the eyes, 1 curve, 2 curve, 3 curve, 1 curve, 2 curve, Shade that in real quick. And there you go. We've just drawn bubbles. So now it's time to draw my personal favorite and the toughest of the Powerpuff Girls, Buttercup. Let's get started right now. Okay, we're drawing Buttercup, exactly the same process that we did for the other ones. We're going to do our guideline here. Her hair is one line here, kind of like a triangle, and it goes around like this. Then we're going to follow this line and we're going to curve it just a little bit up here and bring it down kind of like a shark fin shape. Over here, same thing. Shark fin shape. Then our check marks for our eyes. Circle. One shape. One curve, excuse me, two curve, three curve, one curve, two curve, and then since she's frowning, upside down letter U. And all my player twos, you should be professionals drawing this by now because we've done the same process so many times. I'm sure you know what's next. Finishing step, we're going to take our markers and we're going to go over our guidelines. Again, not the middle one. Hair, eyes, go over that entire head shape, eyes, shade that in a little bit, shade that in a little bit, frown. Just going to shade the hair in just a little bit, just so you have an idea, just to make it stick out a little bit. And last but not least, the other shark fin hairstyle. And there we go. We've used the same process to draw all three Powerpuff Girls. Because when you see there's just a few little variations in their head shape, it just changes the characters completely. Can't wait to see how my player twos handle this one. Now if you're looking for some bonus activities, I've got some pretty cool printable worksheets for my Patreon subscribers at patreon.com/robsarcade. Keep drawing, and I can't wait for the next class. On this episode of the Classic Game Showcase, we're going to fire up the Game Boy Advance and play Powerpuff Girls Him and Seek. Released in 2002, players control all three Powerpuff Girls as they travel through Townsville collecting items for a scavenger hunt. This is no simple task as the young superheroes have to battle some very familiar bad guys along the way. In certain areas, players have a set task to accomplish, like rescuing a bunch of captured prison guards or returning escaped zoo animals to their cages. In addition to this, game developers have added a bit more variety to this game by adding 3 different mini-games. Powerpuff Pinball is an awesome pinball game, with realistic ball physics and is the most fun of the bunch. Mojo on the Go plays very similar to the classic game Frogger, in which you control Mojo Jojo as he attempts to escape from prison. Boogie Fright's Fever is essentially Dance Dance Revolution, as players must press the right button when the icon enters the circle. When these minigames are unlocked, they can be played at any time from the game's main menu. Powerpuff Girls Him and Seek is a well-designed Game Boy Advance game which mimics the art style and tone of the cartoon fabulously. Its simplistic gameplay is easily accessible for younger gamers, and the minigames add a bit of replay value to a relatively short title. Unfortunately,
This game has not been ported over to any modern systems, but if you have an old Game Boy Advance or an old Nintendo DS, this title is relatively easy to find. I highly recommend younger kids and fans of the Powerpuff Girls give this game a shot. Till next time.
And that's a wrap on another episode of Rob's Arcade. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow. Also be sure to follow Rob's Arcade at the social media links listed in the description below. As far as the next episode goes, well, we're going to be spending time with a classic Nickelodeon cartoon that's being rebooted for a brand new generation. I know all my Player 2s are going to love this. Until then, keep drawing, and I'll see you all next time at Rob's Arcade.